Most people coming into this broadcast said Lag Force, dominant, very little chance they're going to be defeated, and so far, they're making it look that way. Imported support have been in this situation before, however.
Most people coming into the show in the last few seconds, I don't know if we can, I'm sure we're always recording. I don't know if we can get the camera guys or the people in production. The music that was playing right before, Jake was dancing, and I want that as a clip. I want that as a clip. You guys missed it. Jake's over here dancing like hip-hop music, and the man does not listen to hip-hop music. I hope we get that. But yes, yes, Lag Force.
Let's go to the map pick.
No, I want to see Jake dancing some more.
Lag Force once again will get the map selection. And Jay-How, now we get my favorite map. You got to play on Tomb or watch Tomb. Go to Towers.
Towers, probably the best competitive map to watch.
So spoopy.
It's spoopy indeed. I mean, right around the time, we've got Halloween coming up. No better time than now for Towers of Doom, but the Sappers, or the Zappers, as Caldor would say, as I'm in his spot currently, so I'll call them Zappers for the duration of this game.
Good.
But
I'll hold you to that.
Maybe, I'll probably forget. But anyways, this is a really different map. We saw some epic games in the Open Division playoffs. We actually saw the clip right before we came back of the finals between Heroes Hearth and Imported Support.
And that was a big moment for Imported Support because they were playing against Heroes Hearth that was in the winners finals and basically earned them that spot in the Crucible. Or no, that was the grand finals. They played two series, and they did play on Towers in the first series. But yes, that was the deciding factor that gave Heroes Hearth the #1 seed. Regardless, it produces some of the closest games, and you know, yeah, there's the added value of being up a bell tower and controlling the map in that way, but the game's not over till it's over, whereas losing a keep on Dragonshire can feel like a huge disadvantage in some cases. So
it does, and a lot of pros will tell you that bot lane feels like an advantage, and there's a lot of other choice words for that bottom lane, but we're going to find out how much they prioritize that as it is time for the draft. Jake, last time we saw Imported on this, they went that Zarya composition. See, and they went Tyrael as well. I'd like to see something similar, but they are tired of Malthael.
So, game 1, Malthael, Garrosh, those were both kind of an issue. Game 2, we saw the Garrosh get banned, and Malthael continued to be an issue.
Give up the RL?
You know, you mentioned some of those games where, you know, Gorge was an option, and it was used on like an Avatar Muradin, and the Malthael has free reign, and they just didn't seem to like be ready to respond to it for whichever reason. On today's date, they weren't ready. Cho'Gall, however, still not ready for play, as honestly, Heroes Hearth, probably the biggest rival Imported Support has in the scene right now, considering they're both from the Open Division, will almost always just ban a Cho'Gall versus a team like Imported Support in cases like this.
It's not rare. They've clearly done their homework. I want to see if Lag Force goes full Lag Force, because it's been a while. It's not as meta as it was a few months ago.
Like disconnecting on the fort? Or
disconnecting on the
full
fort.
Lag Force.
That is full Lag Force. Uther Genji. Biggie on Genji, the Uther play, it fits into Lag Force's playstyle. We don't see it as much. We actually saw it in the Open Division from Europe earlier, but we don't see it as much anymore since some of the Genji nerfs. Uther nerfs as well, so it really depends. But a team like Lag Force, the way that their aggressive style kind of fits that. Zuna loves the dive style heroes. It's like he took the meta from last year, early 2016, and he's like, I still like it, right? It's just like, I want to dive, I want to fight. You know, we see a lot of double support, a lot of macro play, but Lag Force, through the first 2 games, 30 total kills to 1 so far. I'd say they've been dominant, so whatever they draft.
1 kill is all they've gotten in the series?
It was on the Grey Mane in the it was an accident.
And, you know, what did I compliment in the Game 1 draft? We ended up seeing the ETC get picked first, which, again, they usually go for support first, as I throw my pen at the screen. And Lag Force grabbed the Tassadar Rhaegar right out the gates. Those are both supports that do well when it comes to dealing with Sappers, the clear, the fast rotations, all of the above, and it's not necessarily the full double support meta, right? That Tassadar, they're very good with it here on Lag Force.
There's 2 ways that this could go. And this is Towers of Doom, probably. And look at Kyocha, look at Old Crowan, players like that, Snitch, even Zalia at times back in the day. Tracer. And Biggie has been known to play a really good Tracer. This is one of her battlegrounds. If you have any type of initiation CC, like a Polymorph Brightwing, now all of a sudden it doesn't look good because ETC just follows up on that. So depending on how this draft goes, I think Imported Sport needs to be very careful. They can play and give up the standard, maybe Leeming, Vala style, or not Leeming, but Vala style, or Lunara, go into that route. So we'll see exactly how this goes.
I am very happy about this adjustment. Drated on Greymane is something I'm a big fan of here. They're going for the Lucio. Now, the Lucio could go a few different ways. It could be specialty, or it could be the Aware. Probably will end up being specialty, and if Brightwing is not banned here, there is a high probability that we'll see Brightwing as a second support. They do this because it gives you essentially overwhelming double heal. You still have a bit of, burst sustain through the sound barrier, through the polymorph, pixie shield, and of course the face shield. And it ends up being a pretty hard comp to deal with. Then of course we'll have one more DPS with this. But their laning is still a little bit weird when you look at the dominant laner when you draft like this.
I saw a Greymane over your shoulder in that last shot. You guys look like twins.
Young Wolf Joe himself.
We have a young Wolf Joe, right? Morales banned out here. Don't want to give up the Morales Lucio, which on a map, on any other map, you think Morales Lucio is terrible. But this one isn't one. You do need wave clear, but this is really around the team fights. If you were to run a Lucio Morales in a map that requires any wave clear at all, it would struggle. But Towers of Doom is very unique in that playstyle to where if you can sustain around those, then all of a sudden it's pretty scary. We see the Garrosh again banned out, not wanting to deal with that.
They're just afraid.
I don't blame them at all.
Yeah.
And now I want to see, do we get the Muradin pick? Do we see that same similar playstyle potentially coming out from Zuna? Maybe the Anubrak? They've run Abathur on this, but with the Tassadar, you're generally not going to do that unless you're just fully all in on one hero, which I don't see happening at this point.
Don't see a lot of that in the current state of the game with beefing up the Illidan per se.
There's your twin. Found it.
So, Rhaegar Tassadar, yeah, we need to figure out what Zuna's going to be playing here, but beyond that, they're pretty flexible.
Well, they're extremely flexible.
I could see the Vala being just, this should pretty much mirror what we saw in game number 1. It is nice to have a global here, so maybe Dahaka rises in the priority as kind of like an off tank for B-Kid. But that's the only adjustment. Okay, they're actually going to do the Sonya, so they probably won't end up having a global. And
there it is.
Tracer.
There it is. I think against an ETC who struggles, it's a skill shot in terms of landing a power slide. Greymane's there. I would love to see a Brightwing pick up here. You get the global. You get the double support that you like to run. There it is. Perfect. And they get the Cassia in the end for the blinds. Cassia doesn't do so well against the Pulse Bomb, but Pixie Dust does help. It gives you the spell armor. You have the backup sound barrier if needed. Greymane can hop into Worgen form, get that armor. ETC out there. I love the Brightwing pickup. That's why if Lag Force was going to go into the Tracer, I'm a little bit surprised that they banned the Morales, but Morales does have the Safeguard, and it does deal well with Pulse Bomb, so it's like pick your poison at that point. But I'm more afraid of somebody mitigating damage as opposed to somebody that point clicks, polymorphs me, and then I get power slid upon, and then a Greymane potential curse bullet, whatever you have at that. You dive right on that, you fend onto that target. Tracer, in this composition, could have problems if imported support does play it well.
Last pick will be Arthas for the main tank there for Zuna. We'll have to see who's going to end up playing the Brightwing and Lucio in this, because definitely a little bit weird for the way that they drafted in terms of oftentimes Lucio and Cassia would both be specialty.
I think Cassia is specialty no matter what.
I would in this situation, I think so, yeah. But we'll see if that affects them at all. But honestly, this is definitely a very important style draft for them. I'm still a little weirded out by the fact that they're not playing the Johanna. That was like their go-to. We'll just grab Johanna, and they're first picking ETC a lot right now.
Okay, so
I mean, ETC is definitely meta.
But hit me with this. Look at the draft. How many interrupts do you have on a mosh pit now? I mean, you've got a spear from Sonya.
Fair.
And
that is a fair point.
Well, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But anyways, again, the Tracer in this, the ETC looks a lot better. A lot better. 2016 was the summer of Gale Force and Crowan on the Tracer on every given battleground. Finally, somebody said, you know what, we've had enough of this guy. What if we went Brightwing? It was when Blackheart's Bay was still in the battleground pool. It was Towers of Doom. And we saw teams, multiple games in a row, they kind of figured out how to deal with that. It was a polymorph into a power slide and then instant deletion. It is the exact same thing that could happen here. Greymane dives onto that, instantly blow that up. Rhaegar's going to have to be on top of the cleanses. Normally, you're pre-shielding a Tracer when she goes in so that you get the heals. And if that wears off in the middle of all that and you're not pre-shielded and you're holding that shield, that's going to be the best option. So you can play around that if you're on imported support. I would love to see them hard counter that anytime it comes up.
And we're going to have to see those phase shifts, phase shields ready for the pulse bombs pretty much around every single corner. 2-0 lead right now for Lag Force. Towers of Doom. We're going to be going there to see if imported support can get a number on the board and bring this series to almost an even standing.
Imported support backs against the wall. We'll see if they have the same comeback potential that they had in the previous Crucible. Zuna will be on Arthas. Biggie on that Tracer. All eyes will be on him. Tomster on the Rhaegar. B-Kid, of course, on the other melee there on Sonya. And iDream flexing, as always, onto that Tassadar.
I want to see imported support. Bring it back. Ignition on ETC. We have the Aware playing Brightwing. It is going to be Swabs Magoo flexing to the Lucio. Draded playing his Greymane, probably his best warrior or hero. And then we have Specialty on the Cassia. So Draded will end up being the flex here. It is a lone tank. They do tend to play double support, double tank in the sense of maybe the second tank being Dahaka, Sonya, or Zarya with two supports, but I'm glad we're not seeing as much of that. That's the thing where if your enemy team has really highly coordinated team fighting, it doesn't excel quite as much. It's a lot harder to get away with it, and we've seen Lag Force punish with the superior team fighting in the event and the superior rotation. So Towers of Doom definitely mixes things up a bit. Bottom lane, something we'll be watching to see the Zapper control and where the priority exists down there.
The Zappas.
The Zapper control.
Zappas.
Okay, but Trick actually says Sapper, so I can say Sapper.
Okay, you look like Trixler with the beard. And I look like Kaldor with the hair. Anyways, moving on here. As imported support, we see the old 2-1-2. The thing about this is, with Brightwing on your side, you have that global, so we'll see. During the first altar phase, we see a lot of teams kind of make their way over about the minute and 30 mark towards the bottom Zappa camps. I don't know if they'll necessarily go there, but we're finding out as Ignition trying to round his way up, but he is caught in the icy clutches of Zuna, and that's going to be kill number 1 for Lag Force. Puts the spray down.
You can't underestimate a Rhaegar. He might be a support, but Feral Lunge is, no, it hurts. It doesn't feel good, and that was just a little bit sloppy, dying in an almost anticlimactic way in the mid lane. Again, it's not going to be a super meaningful death. B-Kid scouting out the Zappers. Very much something he can threaten as Sonya. When it comes to their ability to grab mercenary camps in general, it's great. You got Rhaegar and you've got Sonya across the map. No false dead. I lied.
Zuna just flat out zoning Ignition out. No invade here, but it is our first altar phase, so we've got 3 altars. I talked about that global. Brightwing will be up at the top, as will be Sonya. So we'll see if we see any shenanigans here as the root coming in one more time. And this is a 4-man squad. Brightwing's going to have to make it down here quick.
Really nicely done from Specialty, getting the re-engage with some nice damage on, also getting the disengage of the channel on that altar. 1-to-1, and as you mentioned, Brightwing has the global. So this is the first time where we're looking at an objective situation where actually imported support has the advantage. Sonya, you don't want to leave her alone. If you can stay in that top lane, do it. But find that moment, find when Lagif overextend, and phase shift forward looking for the kill. Specialty will get booped by Biggie, but Ignition trying to make that a risky call from Biggie. The recall is going to be there, but not enough. Good boop from Swabs Magoo.
Oh, rewind is not that long when you've been kind of standing in place for a while and you get power slid upon, so nice follow-up, nice kill. Sometimes you just kind of sneak out after that, like I wonder if they know I'm actually here, and then good follow-up there. That's going to be what we'll see a lot of, I think, throughout the game as imported support. They didn't need the Brightwing that time, but it will 100% rely solely on the Brightwing ETC play to deal with that Tracer in the future altar phases.
All right, Beware does end up face-checking B-Kid, but does have the poly if needed to retreat. And that's honestly, everything about that altar phase was about as good as it could get. They did keep Brightwing on the top. The phase shift was very, well held onto. Several sappers made it through. I think 2 of them made it onto the bottom wall, and that's going to add up.
Zappas.
A B-Kid. Oh, nice Ancient Spear, juking the Arcane Flare.
That's really well done. Now Zuna's coming over, as is Biggie, Draded in all kinds of trouble. He's going to go down, and they might be looking for more. The Pulse Bomb is there.
Yep. Nice pickup with 2 kills.
Yeah, the Yank squad of Lag Force, they are in full force at this point, because this is the style that they like to play.
Yep.
They will find you, and they will kill you.
We got picked up by a shuttle to move from one venue to the next, and J-Hat was pretty convinced that our driver was a hitman.
It was like being in, what is the Leslie Nielsen? Not Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, Polly? Is it enough to stop it? No, not quite.
What's his name?
I don't know, man.
What is even the movie I'm talking about?
I couldn't tell you.
I have a very special set of skills. Gosh dang it.
I'm pretty bad with movie references if it's not the Mighty Ducks. All right, well, Tomster is going to grab the Sapper camp. And that's just going to be Sapper v Sapper, or Zapper v Zapper.
Yeah, and this is the part where I really want to see Imported Support try and take control of a team fight. The minute Biggie tries to flank a little bit, that's the part I'm talking about. You pre-shield the Tracer so that she heals up off of that. They did go armor after the shield at 4 instead of the extra life leech. But it's got to be all about Brightwing here, who's staying in the top lane. Sonya starting to work her way down. ETC rotating as well. They've got to get here. I'm telling you, I want to see it executed. Brightwing, ETC. Hit him with that. Just let him know what's up. But Tomster on that backside, he's going to go through. There it is. They just didn't have it. They didn't have it.
They were close. They were close to being able to execute the blow up there onto Big E, but not quite enough. Specialty now might be a little bit too far forward. The Pulse Bomb going in. The Pixie Dust's going to get good value. Cleanse has been spent there to make sure that Big E can get out of there. And Zuna, zoned by Draded, going to get the depth. The short cooldown on that face shield with the level 1 Talon getting a lot of value, allowing for the re-engage a little bit more aggressively, and a double kill picked up. That's going to give a nice lead here to Imported.
That's what we're looking for, Jake. Imported Support starting to turn it around. I said I wanted to see them take control of a team fight. They did just that, and I love the fact Greymane got so committed to making sure that Arthas went down. There was a lot going on elsewhere, and that was a very good target. 4 shots going over in favor of Imported Support, and they're also softening up this bot lane.
And for the first time, they have an XP lead, man. That is like such a big deal for them mentally, too. And I'm glad to see them putting some good numbers on the board with this draft. Looking at the Sappers again, but they're not just YOLO diving forward, keeping their eyes on, making sure nobody's going to invade on them. Sonya is in the top lane, so they'll have to throw the Brightwing up there to rotate for the Soak to combat that. They've got that in transit. Ooh, do you think Tracer? Okay.
Tomster's like, wait a minute. Should I be scared? They're not trying to invade. I'm really surprised. But Arthas, we can see on the mini-map, he's going to try and look for that gank potential. They're a little bit late to the invade here. Arthas the entire time just hanging out in the bush. Be very quiet. I'm hunting fairy dragons.
In the event the Howling Blast connects with Sonya in tow, Brightwing would be in a tough spot. So something that they'll have to be mindful of. Arthas decides to leave, not worth the amount of time being spent, and the Sappers slowed down by the Forest Wall. 1, 2, and 3 all connecting. That is a very low bell tower.
Yeah, Arthas decided it wasn't worth it. He started to come down, realized he was a little bit too late, goes back middle to Soak. And the experience basically even at this point, but it looks like they're going to be looking for Arthas, going to find his way. Zuna with the awareness, recognizing doesn't see anybody. He's going to go ahead and dip on out. We've got double altars up at the top, Jake. Will we have the gentleman's trade? You take yours, I take mine. We'll meet up again later.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw that case because, as you mentioned, that mosh pit is a really scary thing, and if Lag Force was to try to invade this space, you know, one power slide could be a disaster for your team. We do have Zuna in iDream hanging out here in the bottom, just keeping Ignition honest. And yep, should just be a free channel for either side.
The root goes in, and they're just going to trade off. I think either team is just content with this. And if we look at it, though, imported support, due to the first altar phase and the last one, they do still find themselves up 8 shots. And again, we talked about that bot lane control in the draft, and we look at those on the mini-map. The bottom left bell tower is significantly lower. We've got sappers being postured upon. Zuna and team recognize they don't necessarily want to go in. Specialty going in with the Fen to get things started.
Too much damage done there from Cassia for them to consider staying for the fight. And that'll just be a disengage for the sappers.
I'd love to see them invade here. Sonya is showing top. You've got all 5 here. Go on over there. Take what's yours, team. They're going in. ETC and team, just take it. Take it.
Great call. And there's no chance of Arthas or Sonya stopping the pickup. But if they do linger too long, it could become a little bit dicey. Brightwing scouts out the rotation. Sappers should be sufficient for destroying this bottom belt tower. They're doing their best to keep them from starting the charge animation, and so far so good. There's still 3 more to the right.
Ooh, they stumble across the finish line. Actually don't explode onto that tower. They've got 3 more at their back. The root's going in, but the phase shift is here. They got the power slide in. Cleanse already used. That's a big deal. If we see the mosh pit go out, that is already there. Emerald win. Ball lightning is out. There's the mosh pit. It's going to lock down 2 members. That's going to be Arthas and Sonya falling. Bottom bell tower has been taken, and Jake, we've got ourselves a double altar phase.
Double altar phase, 20 seconds before the front line is available here for the side of Lag Force, and there's what, 1 sapper available here to potentially get that damage on. That is meaningful damage. They don't want to overextend and make sure it happens, so it's not going to really make it. Tassadar should be enough. That's close, though. There it goes. But yep, this is going to be big. They have the global advantage. They're ahead in XP by a little bit, and they're about to be well ahead in that total count because Arthas and Sonya, they're on their way, but they're not going to make it.
I want to see them re-engage. You've got Brightwing top. Just hold this bot lane. Hold this bot lane. You know, it's not going to be long before we see the Zapper camps come back online. They're just 10 seconds away. So I'd love to see them control this bottom lane. Instead, they're going to rotate up. This is a little bit different than I'd like them to see. They're actually going to start boss instead of trying to keep that bot lane control. Jake, they're going to give up bottom bell tower where they could be getting that sapper camp that just spawned and just strangle holding them in the bot lane. Instead, they're going to give up control back over to Lag Force for that bot lane.
I don't hate this just because Lag Force potentially could have, you know, got the pick there. Maybe they're not feeling super confident in fighting more than they have to in a situation where even though they do have the advantage, the defender's advantage of the bell tower, that does put them at a really huge position point-wise. 10 HP left on the core of Lag Force to 32 remaining for imported support.
Ignition finds himself an Arthas in the bush there. He's going to power slide onto that. The face melts away, but the shield's going to be there. Ball lightning is already out.
Huge
and
damage.
That goes way over there to Tracer, who's taken so much damage, and Zuna in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, Zuna should be able to live on for a little bit longer as he taps the well and gets the shield from iDream. And he does still have the option of Army of the Dead. So the fact that he was able to tap the well, a big deal for the re-engage. Ancestral heal just a little bit shy.
That's what I'm talking about. Getting onto that Tracer, punishing her. Sound barriers out. Zuna on retreat. Force wall trying to zone. Nice Howling Blast is going to root a couple of members in. But Jake, we've got sapper camps and a massive minion wave pushing in here to the bot lane.
20 seconds till Tracer is up. They don't have Army of the Dead. They don't have Wrath of the Berserker. They're going to lose this bell tower. And if they lose Zuna here, Ancestral is going to be enough. But there's 3 bell towers, 3 altars coming up, 2 will end the game.
This is crazy right now, the amount of control that imported support has over this game. Lag Force now is fighting for their lives in this game, else imported support will put a point on the board. We've got the channel going in on the bottom. The Aware should get this one. Now we're going to have the contention towards the top right.
Greymane has to be careful. Dreaded, if he starts that channel, he's in a bad spot here. Specialty does show to be able to zone a little bit. Emerald win in 8 seconds. That is a crucial ability, but the Mosh could be huge here. He's looking for it. He's going to get the one, and Zuna goes down.
Zuna goes down. Another one's going to fall here as B-Kid spinning to win. All the while, he should fall here in a moment. Emerald win's going to push him away. Down goes Sonya. Down will go the core here momentarily as imported support just comes out and flat dominates Lag Force in game number 3.
A sigh of relief across the board of the team. And again, I have to say it's deja vu because
who is this team?
Crucible number 1, game 3, imported finally turned it up and they put themselves on the board.
I'm just going to say, Lag Force, Tracer pick, I talked about it and I was like, look, I don't think this works against this composition.
No.
They committed to it, and I think they paid pretty heavily for it.
I think it got the 1 kill, but every other time the phase shift or the pixie dust or whatever was there to deny most of that pressure.
Yeah.
And the Brightwing play in general worked out really well for them.
It did. You know, you called it. The pixie dust that went out on the 1 pulse bomb there just kind of negated what seemed like all the damage there. Cassie's like, I can stand still. I'm cool. And then they were able to re-engage. They found several opportunities. The lack of interrupts on the mosh pit, seeing that the cleanse was already out on the 1, he recommitted to that, was able to get a couple members in the first mosh pit. The second one pretty much sealed the deal there as well. I think that draft-wise, it seemed like Imported Support had the better draft. The Brightwing pickup was brilliant, already having the ETC, and then the fact that Lag Force just didn't respect that, thinking that you can carry with the Task Tracer. And again, I said it in draft that I was like, this is what you do. They went down there. It was the bottom bell tower or the bottom altar. The minute they took that fight, it seemed like they were full steam ahead and just dominated from there on out.
I'd actually like to look at the last team fight once again from that game, because there was a lot of good moments there for Imported Support controlling the pace of the game, having those sappers hitting the structures left and right. But you mentioned just the way they approached this, the way they rotated, and Ignition not having a lot of responses to the mosh pit. Yeah, you talk about 5-man moshes that are meaningful. This was effectively a 2-kill mosh. Ends the game. Super good control. Specialty and the aware, Swaz the whole backside, they were never really being threatened because of that, the threat that was constantly there for the mosh pit once they at level 10. And GG's, man. Imported Support played their game. They did it well. They had a lot of comfort picks, yes, for sure. But that's all that matters.
That's the team that we know.
Yep.
That is the team that we know of Imported Support from the Open Division. That's what we expected. Again, I really think that nerves probably play a big factor.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot different feel. You're still sitting in the same computer. You're still sitting there at home. You're still playing the same game. But when you got Lag Force over there and you got all the thousands of people that are watching and you know what's at stake, there's a lot different feeling than, all right, you know, we get a cool, like, what is it, the $1,000 prize pool for the Open Division that we have. You can get a big chunk of that change, but this is a lot different. And I think the feel is there. Imported Support, happy to see them put one on the board.
Stakes are high. These teams are fighting for a